All right. I don't know if this works. Let's see if the audio works. Nope, nope, nope. I don't know if the gain's working. Um, what's the date say? March 22. That was the exact week I think I lost my hearing because I did that. Food poisoning. Okay. Long story. So March, this year's been a crazy year so far, 6 months. I don't know what my body's doing. Besides still kind of acting weird and I have to keep clearing it. Good news is I can equalize my ear pressure and I'm hearing my surrounding. My right side is nearly perfect, which I'm happy. My left side got a little bit of tinnitus, but there's also a sore here, so I'm hoping those two are related. Um, Rewind about a few months, so my voice might sound lower, higher, lost. My red might be burnt because today I was at the Rose Bowl swap meet. A lot of good stuff to buy, a lot of stuff to be had, but I don't really have a place to put it. So kind of lightening up on buying stuff and going back to the experience part of life, which I did kind of in 2012 when my buying slowed down and then my family moved houses and I had to move everything, shove as much as I can into storage. And then even in recently, like 2018, I shoved even more in storage. My dad's like, yeah, 10 years having the stuff in the garage. So my Trigger helped me move it to storage, and then we moved to a bigger storage and reboxed everything up. And then 22, another 4 years after all that heavy stuff, I thought things were calm, shoved everything in my office to storage. That's why you only see one or two dragon things in this office. I thought about buying something today. They're like $15 for little 3D printed things. And the guy there is sitting there, and I kind of feel sad for him because he's a dragon dealer. And I know how that feels because I'm a dragon dealer too. I sell large inflatable dragons. I'm not sure why, because furries make really good use of big toys. So that's the nutshell with that. But I do like dragons still. That one's kind of cool. But I don't feel as connected. I don't know what it is, but this is where that long story, Drake story time comes in. So last year, things were boiling down from the stress of the fiance. I'm trying to contact her. I don't think she's really that interested in me, unfortunately. It's kind of, well, now that I've kind of explained all the weird stuff that's happening, I have gray hair. See, unless I dye it, maybe I'll dye it tonight, and then my hair will look black again. I did it last fall and it was really weird and it finally blew through. But yeah, as February came, took a trip to Florida, came back. I was pretty well refreshed. I don't know how long it took for me to even get back to my first suit and finish writing the code. I think that was not on my to-do list, but I need to look at my list to see what I need to catch up to from time to time and some long projects I can knock out over the week. But this is where the weird stuff comes in. So December, went out for about 3 weeks, came back mid-January for the company Christmas party, which is in January, not February. Oh my. They bumped it up late January, so it's not even Christmas party anymore, it's just a get together. So I invited my friend Adam, and he actually followed me out to that one. And we also talked about perhaps a desert party. So around January, I was doing some notes on, and I have it here somewhere. And actually, it was my eyes, my ears were perfectly fine. But around when I came back, developed shingles for about 1 week, 2 week, and it took about a month to get over. So it was late February. I was snoozing at the other office, falling asleep. Ears were pretty clear. And sometime where March came, I guess I was rushing, and it looked like, and now I can find my toolkit here. Looked like I did use it, but I didn't throw any earplugs in it. And boy, did I use the hammer drill, heck out of it. And I used some concrete bolts to knock down, remount some contact sensors on one of the doors in the warehouse. And I don't recall being that loud, but I did the exact same thing 2 years ago, and I had this slight ring I never really noticed until I went up last fall to go switch out some cameras in the shop here. I haven't looked at the chart because I was working on the cameras around November and December and getting them all worked out and the maps all up to date behind me. So that's where this comes in, because around, I think, March, we had an expiration of our lapse of our subscription, but our partner, I think, just retired. So I went ahead and opted to take over it, so that my own private business. So I went and go and took their little training. I think it was that same night that I got that 22nd. They sent me that. And I talked to the sales rep the following week. So if I look at my calendar and then pull it all the way back, Windows has a way to do these calendars so easy, so you can always go back to March. So 22nd was Saturday, and I believe I came back on the 23rd because I usually watch Paranormal Soup, and then I was the 24th, if I remember. That's when I bolted this stuff down. And it wasn't until about 29th I went out with my dad to go check some houses. I noticed everything seems muffled. Not good. That means I blew something in my ear, but it sounds too loud. So, and since then, I could not sleep because when I came back, I was so relaxed. I was getting like a full 8 hour sleep, and my body was so rested. I was actively dreaming things I love again, and I was thinking about getting ready back to do it. I'm hoping to get that passion back, but I don't know what happened. Now, two possibilities. A, I did damage my ear, and hypopsychosis took over for a few months. So around the time between those weekend, the 5th for the month of April, and then I think was it May and early, yeah, May was when we had our thing with the, so now I can't remember it, our desert party, if I remember. And then came June where I had my paranormal thing as well. Two things I think there too, because April was also, was that April? See, now my main mind is kind of lost, and that brings me to the second problem. Somewhere along those 3 months, I had lost scent too. I don't know if it's because when I was on the airplane, I picked something up, but I was fine for at least 2 months. Don't know where I picked it up. I've been into so many public places. One biggest one is the LA County Fair, but my ears was still muffled at that time for almost a month. It's only about the last month it appears to have come back. So that kind of puts me in that weird perspective. So I'm kind of figuring out now what happened. I have tinnitus in this ear now. I don't know if I'll ever get used to it, but it is killing my ability to think and relax. It's calmed down to the point where it just sounds like someone left the TV on or 15 kilohertz oscillator on in the other room. When the bikers came by earlier, I practically fell asleep on the drive up because it was hot and that drowned out the noise. But I'm not doing so well with that. I'm not sure what's going on, but because I lost scent, maybe I caught COVID as well, or whatever you call it today, because I know it mutated several times, from what I can tell. But I was so asymptomatic. I was no cough, dry coughs, barely, and as of now, I can clear my ear, and that pressure feel is kind of gone. I'm walking around doing swap meets, checking stuff out. Saw some cool things, but people want way too much money for anything with the word vintage in there. So if anything that retails used for maybe 40 bucks, vintage in really good condition, just say about 100 usually. So, but that's pretty much my spiel for the next couple of minutes. Not much has really changed. I got some pies here for work that I'm not sure what to do because they were complaining about something. So I started to upgrade using the newer metal type cases because it's passive cooling. But there's really not much going on. Got some coding projects I'm going to try to catch up on. Not sure how I'm going to do that one because I'm not sure if I'm going to do it a web page or using the other development kit tools. I've also noticed I probably shouldn't be messing with some of those tools because it's some of the code I wrote. I'm going to laugh. The last time I updated was 2015. What year is it right now? 25. So that's 10 years ago. And the language I used was Visual Studios. And if you know Visual Studios, that was popular 2006 and prior. So I came a long way from there to .NET, and I still haven't migrated some of that stuff to .NET. I got into .NET around 2012, but never really took off in my brain. So since my job was really just to make stuff work, not keep it up to date like that. So either A, I may have to start finding another developer because my brain is not as plastic as it used to be 2 years ago. But I also have lost emotions for things I really love, so it just feels like work now. So even when I went out to go shopping, looking at some of the neat stuff and the vintage stuff, I saw some neat shirt designs, and I'm like, wait a minute, didn't that company remake that now in the 2025 model or the 2020 version of it? And they don't use as good material as prior generation, but because they're an American-based company and they've been running for I don't know how many years, they managed to buy out several of their competitors that went under. So I thought that's kind of cool, but because I only know the history, I ran into an appraiser and I'm like, so how long have you been appraising? He says 40 years, and he didn't think he was going to live this long. He says, welcome to my world. I have 30 years of knowledge, and I see what people tell me in the 90s is vintage, and I wish I kept a lot more of that stuff, but you can only take so much around when you move, so you lose a few, but I have fixed a lot of that stuff since I kind of grew up with it, and I know how to read a lot of things that I didn't know how to do 20 years ago. Heck, even I'll say even 10 years ago, for the stuff I did know how to do, I'm kind of glad I had fun with friends. I kind of glad I had that tail that got stolen 2018, still my favorite all time. I got a new one. I love that thing. Took it out last night. Batteries don't last as long, but that's my fault. I got to design it better. I don't have an anti-power save mode or something like that. So I'm just using off-the-shelf parts. Um, Needs bigger battery, actually. Capacity is usually what defines the longevity of something. So, but either way, as an avid engineer and a cost saver, I kind of like don't really push it as much as I used to, all the fun stuff I did. So I have to say, you can thank the person that held my project for 5 years and one that held it for almost 7. So when I just start requesting cancellation of projects left and right at 2012, 22, and 23, I started a few with others, but they kind of now kind of see that I kind of want to cancel, even though I really didn't expressively say it. So but they didn't buy anything related, so that kind of tells me they want me to cancel, because normally they would have bought all the materials and say, well, if you cancel now, I have to take a 35% cut on it because the materials have been purchased. And it is what it is, but I don't think I can really work with many artists and maker and creative people, and that's what killed my creativity, just because everything just feels like boring work. If I can retire now, I would. But then again, what would I be doing? Starting another company, figuring out my health. My stomach still feels a little weird after the surgery. Most of the pains have gone away. This is a problem. Ringing here makes it hard for me to think now, even though I can still analyze schematics. But, and this is where that thing that I said happened. If I had caught long COVID or some variant of it, it literally made me forget quite a bit of things, at least maybe 6 months to a year. But it could also be stress. But either way, I don't know. Maybe it's tissue scarring. I might look it up and maybe find out. Maybe someone can scan CT and see if maybe some of my brain, part of my brain, is no longer active. I'm fairly certain that's what it is, because I don't feel the same way. I don't feel like falling asleep now. Normally, I just it's quiet here. I can take a nap for 2 hours and then maybe get back on the road and do other fun stuff. But now I can't even do that.